What is going on, everyone? Matthew97657 here, and today we are back with yet another figure unboxing and review. And as the title and thumbnail suggests, this is going to be the SH Figurarts Kamen Rider Gavv Kamen Rider Breacookie form. So, with that being said, nothing more to it. Gonna get right on into it, and you guys know the dealio. We're gonna do a quick look at the box here. Here we do have the Kamen Rider Break from Kamen Rider Gavv from the SH Figurarts line. So, pretty standard stuff as we've seen with all the other kind of Kamen Rider Gavv boxes. They all have like a light color palette, like with a white background, and then they have kind of just some of the accessorizing images that kind of help it, stand out to give it its own, like, categorical, I guess category. I shouldn't have said categorical. Category. So we have some promo pics on the back. I really love this pose. We're definitely recreating that. And probably, honestly, a couple of these, because these are all really, really good poses for bake. So let's just keep going here. There we have some more cookies at the top, especially with it being obviously Kamen Rider Bake. And if you have checked our last Figurarts one, oh my god, my hair is going to be an annoyance today. If you've checked our last figure one, it's we did the Bitter Gavv Marble Breacookie, which technically is a different form. So if you haven't checked that out, feel free. If not, we're going to do a quick comparison of both of them. So like usual, all these have their instructions on the panels, side panels of the box. This should be the accessories list of what is all included there. A couple different hand effect pieces. So let's go ahead and just get into it, man. The one thing I did not mention, and I feel like I haven't seen this before, but on the box you can see here, it says Tamashii Nation's quality. It's like a sticker, so it's like something you could peel off. And there's nothing that's indicating that it is like an event exclusive, because this figure is technically an event exclusive. It's not a general release, which I'm not too big of a fan on. I feel like, especially for Kamen Rider Bake, I think a lot of the popularity comes from, Suga in this specific form. And I don't know. I didn't really like how they made it like an event exclusive, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's how they get us, right? So, obviously I had to order mine through a third-party seller, and finally made its way here. And yeah, I know it's still a little bit tilted. I just wanted to get stood up. We do have another Bake Magnum. We did get one from the Marble Breacookie, and then we have just a couple different hand effects. So you could get, with everything, you could get, what? You get how many hands? I messed it up. 8, 10. So you get 10 different, like, hand pieces. Not like sets, but hand pieces. But here is the figure here, the Kamen Rider Bake. And yeah, it is, sorry, I'm trying to get it all centered. It honestly feels a little bit like, not like, I don't want to say bulkier or sturdier. I don't think those are two good words to describe it. But it doesn't feel as like fall over heavy. It feels like it's got a little bit more of like a premium weight to it. I know I probably sound insane, but I just want to showcase the design here while I kind of blabber on. It kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels a little bit different from the ones that we have gotten. Maybe I'm just going insane, but it's standard. I know that as a suit, it's kind of basic, if we're being 100% honest. It does have, these like knee pads, shoulder pads, wrist pads, and then, a little bit of like some, I guess, gloves, if you want to call them that, like, or maybe not gloves, but like this little like additional added depth armor. And obviously we do have the buckle as well, which is a very nice piece. We do have the buckle, which, yeah, looks nice. So for the most part, it's a pretty basic suit, if I'm going to be 100% honest, but I think it's got a lot of appeal, and I think a lot of the appeal comes from, the character Suga himself. So I think that's what is a really good selling point, especially if you love Suga and the Bake suit. So I think it looks pretty cool. I really love the buckle, especially because I think it's the only one in the show which isn't, well, I guess maybe besides, well, I don't know. I would say, yeah, this is like the only one that's like I guess, traditional. It's just a buckle. It's just like a belt. There's nothing really to it, but it does have the hilt that you can put the Bake Magnum in. Sorry, I'm going on and on. I hope you guys have been seeing the details here. But there we have the faceplate with the kind of like orange eye pieces, and then we have that like little gemstone at the top, which is more of like a pink, which is actually really cool. I really like how you can see the brown. Whoa, you can see the brown, and then it's got a little bit of that pink on the jewel. So I actually really like that. But let's go ahead and get into the articulation. It's going to be pretty standard. It's honestly probably going to be pretty flexible because there's not a lot of armor pieces that are kind of like conflicting with one another. I know some of the other, obviously you have that there, but I know some of the other Figurarts that we've seen in the line, some of them can conflict with each other in terms of their opposability. And this one doesn't seem like it has that big of an issue, which is always a plus. So you have a little bit of an ab crunch there. You can go pretty far in with it. And then kick up and around. And then you can go like that. So I'm going to move that up. And then you can come around. Can we go all the way? I'm getting a little bit of resistance there. I think I'm moving the pieces not in the best way possible. But you can get a pretty good range of motion. Like if you want to do a kick. I know kicks are a little bit harder to do with stationary figures, but you can still make it work to some degree. Then we have, knee joint, and then forward, not so much. And then you can kind of get a little bit of wiggle there. No, not really. And then lastly, the foot joint. And then there is a little bit of kind of like a toe joint, if you want to call it that. But yeah, like I said, pretty simple. It's going to get the job done, especially if, you really like Bake as a whole. The suit, it's going to get the job done. I know, let me set this aside here. We didn't get a good showcase of the Bake Magnum here, but here it is. It's pretty much, the same as the other one. This one does, however, come with a purple. I'm going to get my lighter skin tone there. It does have a little bit of what am I doing here? There we go. It does have that purple Gochizo, which is supposed to be the Breacookie, compared to the marble Breacookie, which was a red. And these can come out, or can it? Oh, maybe it's glued in there. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really getting... Oh, no, I got it. I feel it. There it is. For a second there, I thought it was like just by itself. So these are usually a little bit hard to see just because they're so small. But there you go. No decals, but the mold is there. It is the Breacookie, which is fun. So, I mean, for the most part, it's always going to stay in this Bake Magnum just because it's how you transform into Kamen Rider Bake. Sorry, I'm trying to get it back in. Sometimes, usually, it's a little bit tricky just because it's like a lot of small pieces working together, and I am not having any luck. Okay, I saw it go. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get it into some very fun action, dynamic poses, maybe even just some stationary ones, because you can do a lot with the personality of Kamen Rider Bake. So let's go ahead and get into some fun poses, do some comparisons, and then we'll conclude. Here we go. All right, we are back here with the stationary pose. As you can see, this is pretty much in stature of the first henshin we see of Kamen Rider Bake, and I really love how we did get the snapping effect pieces. I honestly didn't even know it came in there. I was just kind of like going through the box and all that. So it's always good to see that stuff like that came through with the product. So very good, big fan of that one. Really love it. Very intimidating with the the snap, but very nonchalant too. Almost kind of like a drag, as Suga was talking in the show whenever he first transforms, which is honestly just so cool. But yeah, I really love this one. You have the Bake Magnum wielded in the left hand as well as the Gochizo's in there. You can see there. It was a little bit of a pain to get in there, but it is able to be done. I don't really recommend taking it out too much just because it can always be a little bit of a hassle trying to mess with small parts. But yeah, very, very cool pose. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more of a dynamic one. Here we go. All right, so I try to go for the photo on the box there where I can't even describe it to you. It's like he's got the Bake Magnum like this, and then it's kind of got like an underarm-ish kind of posture there. It was very difficult to replicate. I even tried to look at it, like the still images from the actual show, and I don't know. I really am just having a hard time figuring it out, but I was able to get it to some degree. It's definitely one where if you want to get it like picture perfect, it might have a little bit of trouble getting to it just because I feel like the left arm is in such a weird position, but I think for the most part, it might look a little bit better like if you look at it from above compared to like face level. But I think it came out to some degree. I think the angling, just like, front to front here, probably isn't the best looking there. Maybe if you do like, straight head to head like that instead of like to the side, I think it's going to have to look like that. Maybe if you angle it upward, it might look a little bit better because you get a little bit more of the paint on the Bake Magnum. But I tried. I really do like that one though, with just the way the posture of holding the gun is just so stylish. Very, very cool. So let's go ahead and get one more cool, fun pose in, and then we'll do some comparisons and wrap this puppy up. Here we go. All right, sorry, it's a little unorthodox here, but I tried my best to go for kind of like a kicking pose. I feel like we saw one or two cool kicks throughout the show with Suga in the bake suit. And so, like I said, it's a little hard to replicate, but if you can kind of see it, the swing of the kick there in motion. So I thought it was for a fun try. I tried to get it with my stand, but I think it's a little bit too hard to get it, especially because it's, it's just one point of contact in terms of trying to hold balance. So I really just thought it was a cool one. If you did like a full through kick, it would go like that, but you get a little bit of the wind up on it, maybe something like that, and then kept the big magnum in there and changed for the fist hand effect. So yeah, sorry, I know this one's like not the best showcase, but I thought it was still pretty cool nonetheless. So let's go ahead and do some quick comparisons, and then we'll wrap this pup up. Here we go. All right, so we have our first comparison here, and what better one to start off with than the previous figure that came out with the Bitter Gavv Marble Breacookie form. And I know that I was kind of saying in the beginning of the video, I was like, like this one feels just a little bit, a little bit more odd. Not odd, but it feels just different in terms of quality. And I think it's just the suit. Because, oh, sorry, this thing loves to fall. So I'm trying not to get it to fall. There you go. But obviously this is the Bitter Gavv suit, like the undersuit, with the feet and the arms and stuff like that. So I think that's where it's coming from. I think I just like these kind of like normal boots as a standing piece a lot better compared to those. I mean, in concept, maybe those look cooler because they have a stylization to them and like almost like a claw effect, or like a claw. But I feel like in terms of stability, I just really like this one. I know this one's got a really wide posture, but I don't know, I just think like this one, I think when I was referencing it, I was looking towards the Valen Figurarts, and I felt like that one has pretty good sturdiness compared to some of the other ones where they might sway and fall. And like I said, it does have a very open posture. But just to do a quick design recap here, as you can see, we do have differences in the eye pieces themselves with the coloration, as well as a little bit more paint on the marble Breacookie. Just kind of giving that really like sporadic coloration of I guess a marble cookie compared to our bake. It's got kind of like softer pieces of the chocolate chips going throughout. And then obviously, like I was saying, with the feet, the models are different, with these having more of like a boot and these having more of like a stylized, like, I don't know how to say it, like foot claw, like feet, like monster designed feet. But that's, from the Gavv / Bitter Gavv suit. So pretty cool. I'm definitely a fan of the standard bake. Not to say this one's not good. Obviously, you get a little bit of difference there, but really am a big fan of the bake suit there. So we'll go ahead and do one more comparison. It wouldn't have been fair if we didn't do it with Valen here. So I have him in a very stylized pose compared to Kamen Rider Bake Suga. And yeah, it's honestly kind of surprising we didn't get Frappe or Frappe Custom first and then Bake. I'm not really sure what their whole like idea behind it was. I don't know. But we are getting Frappe / Frappe Custom. I think I'm just going to abbreviate to Frappe. I think that's how we call it here in America. So Frappe, I don't know if, maybe Frappe, but it does say Frappe in the jingle, so I'll stick with Frappe. But yeah, we'll get Frappe Custom, I think in September. So let's look forward to that, because I am definitely looking forward to that. That's probably like my favorite suit throughout the show. With the battle with Bake, it's just oh my goodness, it's so good. But yeah, I'm definitely very excited to get Frappe Custom whenever that comes in, and it'll be a very nice complementary piece with the Kamen Rider Bake here we have with Suga. But yeah, so I think that is going to go ahead and wrap it up for this one. Once again, this was the Figurarts, SH Figurarts Kamen Rider Bake here, and there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with it. I know I've said it countless times, but Suga in the suit, even outside of the suit, is a very expressionful character. So you get a lot of charisma and opportunities to pose this figure in very stylish ways. Like I showed, you had the like tactical ones with the gun there. You had the snap. Well, this is the right hand, the snap there, and then the last one was a kick, which I did not really do too well with, but I tried my best. And so there's a lot of different stuff you can get with it. I really want to get the one where he is crossing his leg over, like just sitting down. I thought that was, just a super fun, good moment with that character. So, I think like the true con with this one is if you think it's a basic suit, not going to completely argue against that. I think as a whole, it's still a very nice piece as a suit itself. And it's more of just buying it for the character itself. Before I forget, I don't want to take it out of the hand effect. Usually it's a little bit hard to get out of there, but you do have the holster there, the little blue piece and the purple piece. You are able to holster the Bake Magnum in there. You just slide it in as you would imagine. Come on now. But yeah, as I can actually, I don't know. Mine seems to really like, mine almost seems like not sanded down, but it doesn't have a lot of like thickness to it. Maybe I'm doing it the wrong way, but this is usually how it goes. I'm personally a fan. The one thing I'm not a fan of, wow, this is actually a little bit difficult. It should be able to go in there, but it's like, I don't think it got like printed right. It doesn't seem like the indent's that strong on the gun. Not necessarily the waist piece, the holster. Oh, here we go. No, I don't want to chip the paint either. Because the other one I would say is, the other one I have is a little bit, more prominent. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I mean, you should be able to do it. I swear I've done it. Maybe I'm just thinking of like in general, but you should be able to do it. Maybe I got a little bit of like a short one there for the gun. I don't know. I'll work on it. If I get to it, I'll put it in the short. If not, I won't. But like I was saying, the only true con with this one is that it is technically an event exclusive. It's not a general release. So, as soon as it's out, it'll probably be out for a good while. It's probably something I'd like to imagine that they would, re-release probably with effect pieces and stuff later down the road. That could be years, it could be months, who knows. So if you're able to get it at a relatively decent price, I would say just grab it. I think it's a very solid figure. I prefer these kind of like more standard human ones compared to the bitter Gavv or the Gavv feet. I think the round one's fine. It's got a little bit more of like elven toed shoes, if I were to call it that. But I really do like this one. Cannot wait for the Frappe custom one. That's going to be an absolute blast. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not able to get it, so I'm just going to leave it off there. Maybe I'll see what I can do with the shorts. But yeah, sorry, I was trying to do that while talking, and it just didn't really go too well. But yeah, in conclusion, this was the Figurarts, SH Figurarts Kamen Rider Bake from Kamen Rider Gavv. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's a pretty good one. Like I said, the only downside is that it's an event exclusive. So if you have your chance to get it affordably, I would just say get it now before it's, third party, like aftermarket sales and they're out of stock from the event and it's going to be, how it is. And then you're gonna have to wait. So if you have the chance to get it, I would say get it, especially if you're a fan of Bake / Suga. So with that being said, let me know what you guys thought. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.